Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another exciting episode of the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, as always, Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Time. So let's get through this podcast, kick ass along the way, and also talk about some good old fashioned wrestling. Remember to hit up the chats. Tell me how you feel. Tell me how your midweek is going Wednesday. I've always, my mom always kind of referred to it as hump day. And no, those, don't have a bad mind about it, guys. Don't think in the gutter hump day because you're getting over that hump and you're just about to go downhill Thursday and Friday, and then bam, you're right back into the weekend again. So, glad that you were on this roller coaster ride with your boy E from the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast. So, absolutely love it. Absolutely love that you guys are here to tune in. Absolutely want to hear your guys' voices. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. Give me your thoughts and predictions about wrestling right now. AEW just started. Can't wait to watch it. We're going to preview it tonight. But let's go ahead and jump right on into it. Thank you for tuning in to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Today, we have segment one. We're going to talk about our WWE NXT review. Segment two, we're going to talk about WWE NXT preview, what's going to go on with that. Our third segment, we're going to jump on into the 25-man Battle Royal that's going to be at NXT to determine Trick Williams is number one contender for, I think it's Heated or something. I forgot the name of the pay-per-view, but I think it's July 7th. It's going to happen. And our fourth segment, we're going to talk about, oh man, we're going to talk about what are we going to talk about in our first segment, Eric? We'll come to it once when, I'm just kidding. No. WWE Monday Night Raw has recently got, from the past 2 weeks, back to back, they've seen a decrease in viewership. So we're going to talk about that. And lastly, we're going to get into our new segment that I kind of wanted to introduce. I know on Fridays we do have our wrestling news roundup, but I feel like, just there's a lot of wrestling news. So it'd be kind of better. It'd be perfect to kind of split it into two because there's so much. So from now on, we will have our Wednesday wrestling news segment. So yeah, excited to jump on into that. But before I move on any further, I want to remind you guys to use the tips and donations link at the GSMCpodcast.net. Shoot me your questions, comments, concerns. Tell me what you feel. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. All that mumbo jumbo. Remember, the link is to the GSMCpodcast.net. Once again, it really does help the show, guys. A little positive review, just a little fan encouragement is what we're all about. Ultimately, the podcast is the podcast, but the podcast is hell of a lot better with a lot of bit of fan engagement. So, don't be shy to hit up that chat button. Tell me where you're at. Tell me where you're listening at. Tell me what you think about certain professional wrestling. Shoot me a sports question. Like, it does not matter. The fact of the matter is, we are together. We are a sports fandom. In this case, we are on professional wrestling. But, let's just all, get together. I kind of want this podcast to kind of emulate, kind of like just imagine you're at the bar sitting with your boys. Hopefully right now you're watching me. You have your favorite snack, you have your favorite beverage, and you're just chilling out. It's a hump day. So it's 8 o'clock. You guys, on the West Coast are ready for bed. On the East Coast, it's 11 p.m. So you guys, all you insomnia guys out there, respect. No, I'm just kidding. So don't forget, really does help the show. The link is at the GSMC podcast on that. So let's jump on into our first segment. We're going to talk about our WWE NXT review. So let's jump right on into it. Right off the bat, we get the new inaugural NXT Women's North American Champion, Kelani Jordan. And what she kind of had, a main quote that I kind of got from her, talking, she said, "It's up to me to create prestige." And it's true. If you're the first title, holder of a brand new championship, you kind of have to set the bar. You kind of have to set the bar to what it takes. Like, the only thing I can kind of explain it as, just imagine if the WWE Championship was, just being floated around constantly. There's no reign, there's no merit, there's no prestige, there's no really respect on the title. It just goes back and forth. It's not going to be as respected. Thus, the audience isn't going to really care about it. They're not going to pay attention to it, and they're just going to pay attention to all the other, wrestling promotions like AEW, Ring of Honor, New Japan Professional Wrestling, etc., etc. So WWE NXT, they needed this title for the women. 1,010%. This is something that I've kind of talked about on WWE, about a women's intercontinental championship match that would be no intercontinental championship title that would be absolutely awesome. I feel like there's a lot of mid carders in the women's wrestling that kind of need to make a name for themselves. Right now, obviously you kind of saw WWE Creative make Bayley a champion at WrestleMania. You also saw Becky Lynch when you saw Rhea Ripley, and then once Becky's gone, Rhea Ripley, she's injured right now. Liv Morgan has the strap. And but before that, you saw Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair become a tag team, which I was, super against because I feel like tag teams should ultimately be tag team wrestlers. Shouldn't be two struggling singles wrestlers looking for their place or their, just for a purpose inside their roster or on their show. So a WWE Women's Intercontinental Championship would just be absolutely amazing for the women's division on the main roster. Like the WWE World Women's Tag Team titles, it will be defended on both brands. But it's just kind of crazy how that kind of worked out. I'm happy for Kelani Jordan. She's the inaugural NXT Women's North American Champion. So then you had Jada Parker coming out that said, Jordan, you're a squirrel. You're a squirrel. The only good thing about you is you scurried on up to the ladder, grabbed the title. You couldn't beat me on a one-on-one match. And then, of course, obviously, Michin attacks her. The Good Brothers, with the assist of Michin, is now the number one contender for Kelani Jordan's Women's North American Championship, which I think is going to happen next week on WWE NXT. Chase U, once again, in complete disarray right now. All the members, they can't get along. With the addition of Rich Holland, obviously, I feel like, half of the members are for it, half of the members are not. I feel like Thea Hale, she's kind of stuck in the middle there. She obviously wants to believe in Rich Holland. And honestly, at this point, Chase U has kind of been irrelevant ever since they lost the Heritage Cup Championship. So just for a chance of relevancy, just for a chance for that faction that's stable to kind of be dominant once again, you kind of need Rich. You kind of need Rich Holland. He's kind of like that lunatic fringe lad, kind of like that Dean Ambrose on the Shield. So and then of course I loved how Thea Hill was like, everybody sit down and shut the like it was oh god, I would love to say it on air, but I cannot because it was so iconic. It was so badass, so attitude era, bro. I thought that was super cool. Next, we see a six-man tag team match. The Catch Republic teamed up with Wesley against Gallus. Gallus is, I feel like, as of right now, Gallus is kind of, and then he just came like a couple of weeks ago, but they were in NXT before. I feel like their bookings have been, so far so good. I love that WWE didn't jump so fast to the thought of Wesley kind of becoming the North American Championship. You saw him losing to Obafemi and Joe Kofi over at WWE NXT Battleground at the UFC Apex Center. So I kind of like where they're going with this, but there has to be a point where there has to be some gold that comes around the waist of any Gallus, any member of that, either if it's tag team, either if it's the North American Championship, or, who knows who's going to be in the Battle Royal for Trick Williams' number one contendership heading toward July 7th. Heat Wave, I think it's Heat Wave. Don't quote me on that. But it's right now, it's kind of put up or shut up if you're an NXT superstar. Right now, I feel like WWE has kind of put more I feel like, and it's because so much injuries on the Raw roster and on the WWE SmackDown roster, you kind of see a lot of focus kind of going on WWE NXT right now. Like obviously you've seen Cody Rhodes, come on last night's episode. I know he came because his father passed away I think it was a year to the date. No, like obviously not a year to the date, but it was on that same day. Then you also saw Jordan Grace from TNA, and now they're flirting with that TNA Forbidden Door. And you can't help but to notice that I feel like, and what I'm going to talk about later on in the show, Monday Night Raw's ratings have been decreasing. Cody Rhodes and Bayley have been kind of, scrutinized on social media as boring champions. So right now you kind of have WWE NXT to kind of fill in that void. You have a 2-hour slot on the USA Network. So you're going to incorporate just some, not weird stuff, I say weird stuff as if it's, obviously very foreign to WWE's usual standard status quo of how they handle talent relations and creative operations in WWE. NXT is obviously a great place to kind of experiment with something first, see if it works, and then eventually maybe move it on to the Raw or SmackDown roster. That's kind of what it's there for. Thus, you kind of see the superstars doing that, and then they get drafted to WWE Raw or WWE SmackDown. So, NXT plays a pivotal moment, pivotal part within the professional wrestling standards of WWE. So, yeah, Gallus won. I don't know if I, fairly clarified that. Then you saw Brinley Reese against Wendy Chu. Wendy Chu is no one to mess with. Wendy Chu chews up Reese, absolutely chokes her out. She is out. I don't know. Wendy Chu has a pretty good. I don't think she's going to be the next one to fight Roxanne Perez so fast. But in the future, I think Roxanne should be looking with one eye open. You know what I mean? Um, Next, we had Roxanne Perez. She shot a promo in the back that I absolutely loved, playing the heel part. She was playing the heel part so well. She was like, Ava's got to come up to me. She's gonna apologize to me. She done me wrong. She made me find out in the middle of the ring who my challenger was going to be at WWE NXT Battleground. So now she has to do the same. And that's fair. That's absolutely 110% fair. Roxanne Perez, throughout her title run, has been more exciting than any NXT women's title run within the last couple of years. And, obviously, you've kind of had a lot of great champions like Becky Lynch. You've had great champions like Lyra Valkyria. It's just so perfect the way she is. She's a two-time WWE NXT champion. I feel like they're put in a lot on Roxanne, 110%. They were like, here, you know what? We're going to bring in this TNA talent. She's a Knockouts champion. She's two times. She probably weighs two times more than you do. She was a former bodybuilder for women's. And, we're going to put you in a squared circle with her. Have fun. Absolutely, 110%. And Roxanne's like, you know what? Okay. Like, a little crazy, but Roxanne Perez absolutely deserves all the flowers. She deserves all the respect. Most importantly, she deserves to be WWE NXT Women's World Champion. All right, next we saw Cody Rhodes come out. Cody was adrenaline in my soul. Like, I kind of love that song. But it was kind of crazy how you didn't have the pyro in the back. But, obviously that's WWE NXT. So when Cody Rhodes came out, he was talking about his match with AJ Styles. It's going to be a great match. You have an I Quit match. Defending the WWE Undisputed Championship at Clash at the Castle Saturday. If you're on the West Coast and you have to wake up early. And I think it's 10 a.m. I think it might be 10 a.m. And then on the East Coast, I think it might be 12 or 1. I'm not too sure. Then Trick Williams came out like, whoa, that trick. Well, absolute respect between both of the superstars, which is absolutely awesome. I definitely think in the future they're going to kind of have this NXT WWE crossover that they kind of did with Survivor Series some time ago that I felt like they should have done ever since they kind of introduced the WWE NXT as its own entity. But I don't know. It should be pretty interesting to see how that kind of works out. So then Ava grants Cody the right to tell Trick Williams who his number one contender is going to be. He announced that Trick Williams will face a person who wins a 25-man over-the-top rope battle royale. And guess what, kid? These guys are coming from locker rooms all over the United States. And it was big. He said different locker rooms. Obviously, I kind of expunged a little bit there, but it's big. It's really, really big. I feel like this is kind of going to have a Royal Rumble-esque kind of feel to it. Sorry, I'm getting sweat in my eyes, so I apologize for that. It's going to kind of, with the unpredictability, it's also going to have a couple of superstars. They've obviously opened the forbidden door, talking about TNA, talking about WWE in terms of that. So it's going to be big. It's going to be big. This is kind of the Royal Rumble for the NXT, something that I think the NXT should kind of get more into, is like having their own kind of version of like a Royal Rumble, you know what I mean? So I think that would be pretty badass. Cody Rhodes says he's going to the barbecue, he's going to the grill out, he's going to the summer party or whatever, kind of like Summer Slams. And for NXT, and yeah, it's gonna be crazy. 25-man battle royal, different locker rooms. Lexis King defeated Dante Chen in Singapore Kane match. It's kind of surprising because this would have been the third win brought up by Dante Chen, but Lexis King showed why he is ultimately, he's a badass. He's a badass. Like he's no one to be trifled with. Obviously, he gives me this like tiger. What was that? With Carol Baskin. Yeah, oh my God, what the Tiger Man? No, the Tiger Warrior? Damn it, what is it? I can't think of it right now. Shoot it up in the chat section. You guys know who I'm talking about. Tiger King. I think it was Tiger King. Not too sure. Kind of reminds me of that. Kind of freaks me out a little bit. But, obviously WWE, they kind of have the things. So, wrapping up this segment, we have Tavian Harris got defeated by Eddie Thorpe. You also saw Charlie Dempsey in the back shooting a promo telling the no quarter catch crew that he there's somebody who obviously needs to step up and kind of be the leader. He kind of wants to be that guy. He was telling the other guy like, hey, like go get the guy from the family. And I don't know, Charlie Dempsey, I feel like could probably take over Drew Gulak's spot ultimately, but obviously there's going to be a little more creative work to kind of add into that. And then you saw an amazing match. You saw an amazing match between Shawn Spears and Javon Evans. I was hoping Javon Evans was going to get to win, but Shawn Spears, one of his most impressive career wins from WWE NXT. And it's kind of crazy because it came from like a 19, 20-year-old kid, a guy that's obviously made his debut in WWE NXT. He's been absolutely impressive. He's had major victories. So definitely something Shawn Spears should kind of build up off of. Shawn Spears, of course, he was Ty Dillinger. With WWE NXT, came out to the main card once again. WWE didn't know how to kind of handle his character, so then he faded out, got released. Got signed by AEW. He was wrestling in independent wrestling circuits for a little while there, and then he eventually made his way back to WWE. Which I think they kind of owe it to him to kind of give him a title run. So it wouldn't surprise me if he is going to win the Battle Royal next week on WWE NXT. All right, and lastly, we saw the Roxanne Perez promo, the Women's World Champion address. So she addressed, and a lot of people came out. You saw JG Jane, Last Legend, Lola Vice. The last two people standing in the ring was Lola Vice, recently scoring a WWE NXT Underground win against Shayna Baszler, a former UFC champion. And it's just kind of crazy. I don't know if those two are going to get along. I don't know if they're kind of buttering it up for their next match. I would love to see Lola Vice and Roxanne Perez fight. They're both two amazing physical specimens. They have a lot of, I feel like their unpredictability. You have one that feels like that she wants to become a babyface so bad, but she kind of doesn't let herself. Lola Vice, because she was like, she still wants to stay, kind of grounded. And then you also have Roxanne Perez, who was babyface, and ever since she kind of got to that role, she was like, you know what, screw the fans. Y'all never supported me. I had to bite and scratch and crawl my way up to the top while you guys just sat there and laughed. Like, I thought that was, so definitely a good promo by Roxanne Perez. Who knows who's going to, fight Roxanne Perez for the WWE NXT World Women's Championship at NXT Heatwave July 7th. So, hopefully you guys had a, if you guys have a couple of chats toward WWE NXT, make sure you hit it up at the GSMCpodcast.net. But now we're going to move on to our AEW. It's Wednesday. You know what that means? AEW Dynamite preview. No, it's not. Well, yeah, no, technically it is. So, hey, do not go anywhere.